Welcome to Mean Age Daydream with me, Brian McWilliams, where we're going to be making some jokes, laughing out at broken world, but also laying out some philosophy for the future, how we can fix this mess we're in and have a great time doing it all with a Mean Age Daydream. What's up, buttercups? Welcome to Mean Age Daydream. As you can tell, I am once again sick. I know people always give me beef about it. What can I say? My little kid got sick, then my big kid got sick, then my little kid got sick again. And there's only so many times you can hold a goo-covered jelly donut child next to your head before eventually their sickness gets in you. So I'm once again sick. And it sucks, and I'm fucking pissed off about it. But what can you do? So this will be a short show. I do want to get some takes out there about what's going on right now with the anti-libertarian libertarians and all of this whining from, as I said in the title of the episode, pointless people in regards to Donald Trump's incoming administration, the potential for it, the actions of the party undertaken by Angela McArdle, and all that good stuff. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. I also want to talk quick about DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. Again, this ties into the overarching concept of I am optimistic. Many out there are not and simply want to dunk on the party. So we'll talk a little bit about DOGE and what's possible because it can go forward without the need for congressional legislation in many ways. So I'll touch on that for a little bit. And then, of course, let's talk a little bit about the tariff stuff with Trump because that obviously sucks some butts. But before we get into that, reminder, guys, you can support the show. And right now, you can actually get a beautiful Lions of Liberty Christmas mug. Look at this beautiful Christmas mug. Yes, gorgeous. That could be yours. If you upgrade to an annual subscription through our Patreon and our Lions of Liberty locals, look at that. A Santa hat on a lion, Christmassy colors. Wow, you'll be the envy of your kitchen. Your children will ask, what's that for? And you'll say, that's for safeguarding the future, you little doof. Anyway, check it out, guys. Again, you can subscribe, get our annual subscription package, and either an upgrade to an annual or a brand new one, and you get that mug. Fantastic stuff. So let's talk about what's going on here because it's so frustrating to me to see the absolute lack of vision in so many people in the party. Now, granted, I can see where some people wanted a more pure libertarian in Donald Trump's cabinet. And that's where I said, the purity tests and pointless people, the title of this episode. I don't know who you want. I mean, I was thinking about going through, and I think we even talked about this on a Meme Wars episode. Who would be in position that you'd want in a Trump cabinet that you would say is a pure libertarian? And I'll give Andy, I always want to say Andy Kaufman. I'll give Jeremy Kaufman credit and LPNH. They tweet out a lot of crazy shit, don't get me wrong, but they're right some of the time. And they had tweeted out, either Jeremy or the overall account, that there are no libertarians, right? I mean, if you're talking about a very subjective definition of libertarian, which tends to change depending on the very personal viewpoints of each libertarian that were constantly put through these purity tests, which drive people out of the party. And I'm trying to work against people doing that and try to have a more broad coalition and a broad appeal to people. Because as I've talked about before, I want more shitty libertarians. I'm sick of you people that jerk yourselves off into a frenzy because this person or that person doesn't exactly conform to your definition of libertarian. Thus, to the point of LPNH, yeah, there are no libertarians then. Just like if you look at the conservatives, you look at the Democrats, they all have a different variety of stripes, right? They're all horses of a different color, but they're trying to pull in the same direction. Our party does not seem to have that because there's so many of you that simply want to tear down whatever doesn't conform to your masturbatory vision of libertarianism. And it's pathetic. It's pathetic. You've got McArdle, who has a direct line to Trump, to RFK. I mean, when's the last time a libertarian, and yes, RFK is a registered lifetime libertarian, and if you just say, well, he just recently joined, how many of you just recently joined? How many of you just read a book and decided now you're a libertarian Okay, you want to attack him? He is registered libertarian. He said he would be open to running a libertarian again in the future. I'm sorry he doesn't conform to your standard. But the fact remains, for the first time in the history of the party, the head of the Health and Human Services Department is going to be libertarian. Vivek Ramaswamy, who is a former libertarian, and I espouses very libertarian views, is co-heading up DOGE. Elon Musk is tweeting out quotes from Rothbard, quotes from Mises. I mean, no, don't open that door. Kids just came back inside because they're off school today. I mean, Thomas Sowell, he is heading up the department. He has Trump's ear, along with Vivek. I'm optimistic as hell. But the point being, I'm seeing all these people online whinging and whining about, oh, well, you know, Angela got played because she sat down with Trump. I'm sorry she sat down with the President of the United States of America, jerk-offs. I'm sorry that she has that access and you are upset about it. That she somehow sold out the party to actually get us some influence. And all this, by the way, before Trump even comes into office. So we don't know what he's going to do. We don't know if he's going to live up to the promise to free Ross Ulbricht. I think he will, because he said that not only to us, but at numerous occasions, to numerous crowds. I think he has to. And by Trump's definition, yes, people have pointed out the semantics of this. He said if the Libertarian Party endorsed him, he would put a Libertarian in his cabinet. Now, as I've said, even without the endorsement, RFK is still in there. Vivek's in there. Elon Musk is in there. Tulsi Gabbard was a darling of libertarians for a very long time. Let's not forget. And, pardon me, Jay Bhattacharya is also heading up the NIH now. Now, is Jay a registered libertarian? No, but I'd say he's pretty goddamn libertarian in practice. He stood up during COVID. He fought the good fight. You've also got Ron Paul, who's, you know, a part of DOGE from a consultancy perspective. What do you want? I don't see who you think is going to be in a cabinet that's going to be a better fit, because Scott Horton's not getting that job, guys. I hate to break it to you. It's not going to happen. I doubt Scott even wants that job. Who else is going to be, what, Michael Malice is press secretary? He's an anarchist. Not part of the Libertarian Party. Who do you want? Who's a good fit? Thomas Massie, technically not a Libertarian Party member. Now, granted, there were rumors that Thomas was going to become a Libertarian to finalize that, to assure it. But we don't know because he didn't get the job. Are there problems with Trump's picks? Of course there are. Some of these are predictable problems we knew were coming. But for people to just go out of their way and take glee, and yes, I'm talking to you, the segment of the libertarian population out there who probably doesn't listen to me because I make too much sense for you. Those of you who are going out of their way to criticize, to dunk on, to decry Angela McArdle for getting more access, more influence than you have ever seen in your life for this party or for a libertarian to wield, period, is asinine. Ridiculous. Hey, Bruce from the Weather Report's on here. Yeah, Bruce, exactly. Everybody wants a spotless entity to someone. Yeah, there's no perfect person that's going to be in here. There's nobody you'd have to genetically grow and engineer a libertarian in a laboratory that's going to meet these people's standards. I'm sorry. You need to view this for what it is, which is, of any incoming administration in the history of the United States of America, this is the most libertarian one. Well, maybe not for the founding fathers, let's say. But let's say in our modern era. This is the most libertarian administration that you can hope for. To view anything else, to ask for anything more, is ridiculous. You live in a fantasy world. You should be on your knees thanking God that somebody had the strategic foresight, like Angela McArdle, to utilize the party for what it is, which is a cudgel to try to, or a crowbar to try to wedge people in the direction we want. And guess what? If our goal is forwarding freedom, if our goal is forwarding liberty, we are moving in that direction more than we have ever had a chance to before. And it's not even a question for any of you that are looking at this from an honest intellectual perspective. It's just not. And it frustrates the living crap out of me. So anyway, I beg of you people, take a broader view of what the party is trying to achieve. take a broader view of what's possible under this administration and under this strategy. We saw what Trump's winning margin was. Libertarians could have definitively changed that winning margin. What if we use this tactic in races across the board to push for what we want in different state races where we have a like in California? No, it's not going to matter in California. Let's say in other swing states that have far closer races, using our ability to vote one way or another as a cudgel to move people in the direction we need, what we want, to get the assurances from them, to impact legislation, because that's one of the criticisms of the party is that we do not have the power to impact legislation. Yes, we can push on social media. We can ask you to call your congressperson. We can tell you to call your senator on a piece of legislation going this way or that way. We did that before with the re-upping of the NDAA. But as you saw, it didn't really work. This works. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And if it doesn't work, then we've learned a lesson that we have to try a different tactic. But sitting around and whinging and whining that we somehow sold the party out by trying to have influence and trying something new and talking to people that are of massive power is frankly fucking idiotic. You can't try the same thing over and over again and expect success. And all these people that are criticizing the LP want us to what? Okay, you're throwing all your support behind Chase Oliver, right? For what? To get what? We did support Chase. We did. We, social media, with emails, with ballot access initiatives. We tried to support Chase. But at the same time, you're running a parallel tactic here. You're thinking strategically. What if he doesn't win the presidency? Because he's not gonna. What then? Well, now you're seeing what then? You're seeing, as I mentioned, the most libertarian incoming administration that has ever existed, a chance for real change within the government. People like Tulsi who are looking to completely reassess and possibly reassign some of these government agencies. You've got DOGE, this is a good time to transition to DOGE and the possibilities there, looking to eradicate the Department of Education. Now, they can't do that on their own. That one has to involve legislative approval, right? But there's a lot that they can do that doesn't involve that. Think about it this way. When you've got Musk and Vivek in there, what are their goals here, right? To eliminate programs that do not have congressional approval. That's something you can do in-house without legislation. That's something easy because if they don't have congressional approval on them, there's nothing to protect them from being eradicated just from a government Office of Budgetary Matters perspective. So they wield that influence. And by the way, also a weird way to think about this, because I've been getting pushback by people when I talk about the power of the Department of Government Efficiency. And again, these people that are small thinkers, or at least simply are not thinking through it or don't understand it. I don't want to criticize you people outright because maybe you haven't thought it through in the same way. They don't realize a couple different things. Number one, we like, and I said this before, we like to criticize and say eradicate the Department of Education. Well, guess what? The Department of Education didn't exist before Carter. So yes, these things can be put into being, especially when you have control of the House and Senate. But you don't even need to be there. I'll give you an example. Is AIPAC a registered and official legislative body of the United States? No, it's not. How much power does AIPAC wield when it comes to policy matters in the United States? A shit ton. Yeah, you nodding along? Yes, they do. Influence equals policy change. Vivek, and Elon have influence with Donald Trump. And he is the end-all be-all when it comes to pushing forward some of these non-legislative changes. Like, as we said, eliminating agencies that are non-congressionally approved, like reducing inefficiency and waste, moving people outside of DC. That's one of the things they're looking to do. Closing government buildings that have, 4 different people, 4 different buildings rented out, most of which the space isn't being used for shit because the people aren't even going to the office. So you say, you're going back in the office, we're consolidating this to one building here. So maybe half those people quit. Maybe the buildings themselves are sold off, but either way, you're reducing waste, you're reducing inefficiency. I mean, cutting foreign aid stuff. Like, another one here, I'm just reading some of these some of these things that are targeted. Cutting federal budget outlays by refraining from spending appropriated funds. Yeah, how about that? Ending federal spending programs that are not authorized by Congress. Yep, there you go. It's just, even forcing agencies to rebid contracts can save millions and billions and billions of dollars. None of this requires legislation. It's influence to get the job done. And they have the potential to do that. So, when it comes to optimistic thought, why is my wife vacuuming? I swear to Sandy, please. My God. Wonderful. My kid peed on the floor. We're potty training. That's the other reason I don't know. I'm just very stressed out. Stressed out, exhausted. Part of the reason why I'm sick. So, getting back to it, there is more than enough reason for optimism. And I don't understand these black-pilled libertarians, quote-unquote libertarians, who will say that they are the pure ones. They will call Angela a sellout. They will attack anybody who is even open to the idea that Trump's administration may be a success by saying that somehow we're Trumpists, that we're Trump supporters, that we should go buy his gold. No, there's no infatuation with Donald Trump here. This is what people, this loser mentality thing. It's like the default mentality of, if you're not completely for me, then everything I believe to be evil, you clearly believe in. No, there's no infatuation with Donald Trump here. It is, you're picking the best potential option at the time. And this brings me around to another point I want to make about these stupid assholes who are crying about working within the existing system to try to change the system. They think it's some sort of own to say that because we're working with the state to control the state, that we're foolish, that we're idiots. It's never going to work. What do you think's going to happen, dummy? Violent revolution? Do you really think that we're going to have a violent revolution, or somehow the system is going to be completely overthrown outside of the existing state, and that's going to result in the eradication of the current state? Now, maybe that's possible when the world economy collapses, but that's not going to happen anytime real soon, because all the incentives are to keep propping it up. But if you think that refusing to work in the current system, refusing to try to move the bar and push the rock up the hill to try to get what we want is a pointless endeavor, you are fucking worthless. You are a pointless person. You are content to do nothing, and that makes you happy. You're looking to do nothing except whine, because it gives you pleasure to hit this crap and say, oh, well, I'm so pure. You guys are selling out to the state. Okay, get your 10 likes and then move on and continue to live your life in irrelevance, because that's what you're doing. The rest of us are going to try to change things when and where possible. And right now, it certainly looks like we're going to be changing things a fuck of a lot in the right direction. And I'm sick of these people who don't understand that don't have any concept of what's possible, what's probable, and even if it's not everything we hope and dream for, which I'm sure it's not going to be. I'm a realist. The Overton window has been shifted momentously in one direction, and that came from Donald Trump winning. You can't deny that. We, associative with Donald Trump, pushing that forward, him speaking at our convention, him acknowledging some of the things that we need, Vivek at the convention, RFK at the convention. I don't get you people who are intent on failure as a positive. Daddy's telling people how it is. That's what's going on in here. All right. Let's move on and just talk real quick. I'll wrap it up on this before I totally lose my voice. The tariffs thing blows. Everybody knows this, right? Tariffs suck. Even people, it's interesting. I read a whole article by Matt Taibbi that was in defense of DOGE and his suggestions for how DOGE can be effective working outside of the legislative body. Again, to show you, Matt Taibbi, a more or less a leftist until very recently, coming around and saying, yes, cut, hack, and slash, and cut. Here's my suggestions how to do it. Pretty optimistic. But he also said in there, oh, well, he thinks that we can eliminate the federal income tax, eliminate the IRS, offset it with a 5% national sales tax and tariffs. People's misunderstanding of tariffs is very frustrating. Tariffs are idiotic. They are a pass-through tax on the consumer, just like corporate taxation is. The concept that somehow we're going to even out that money with tariffs and the people here are not going to pay the price is ridiculous. So we talked about this on Meme Wars months ago, maybe a month ago. At the same time, look, that's a trade-off I'll take. If we're eliminating the IRS, if we're eliminating federal income tax, I will take that trade-off and see what the tariffs will do, knowing that it is a pass-through tax on the consumer and knowing that tariffs are by nature protectionist of industries that probably should not be protected because they need to evolve and change and typically are propped up by their own union bullshit to keep them paying well and keep that voter block intact. But they're for industries that are non-competitive on a global scale for whatever reason. And again, a lot of this is non-competitive because, as I mentioned, labor is so much cheaper in other places because they don't have these workers' unions that are insisting on high wages and even higher post-retirement benefits. So tariffs, horrible idea. But like I said, you're going to get good with bad here. Donald Trump is not a pure libertarian. And as we said, circle back to earlier, there's no such thing as a pure libertarian. You're going to get, sorry guys, you're going to get some good, you're going to get some bad. And when you get the tariffs here in exchange for something like eradicating the IRS, a cancer on American society since its inception, I'm sorry, but again, you had to go, yeah, let's go. Let's give it a shot. Because if the tariffs don't work, right? If the tariffs suck, as we know they're going to suck, but you get that IRS elimination and it's now gone, thrown to the wind, like a fart in the wind. What a victory for America. Flat out victory for America. If Donald Trump institutes, again, all these tariffs on this shit, and we say, oh, this is horrible, or messes around with world trade, and we go, well, that's terrible, but the Department of Education is gone. Still a huge victory. Think about things in the broader context, please, I beg you, instead of being so myopic. That's it. I'm tired. I'm going to go see how much pee is on the floor. All right, guys. Thank you. Hey, Chris Napoleon's here. Angelo went to high school with your cousins. That's awesome. Okay, guys. Thank you for watching. As I said, I beg of you to take the high road here. And yeah, there you go. Magoo says, yeah, look at tariffs as negotiation leverage. Well, they are. That's a good point. Yeah, Trump is using them for negotiation leverage. It's the threat of the tariff. We've already seen Mexico and Canada come to the table and say, okay, we're going to work with you on these different regulatory matters or different matters of immigration or drug, fentanyl. I know Trump is negotiating with Mexico on fentanyl crackdowns, et cetera. So yeah, exactly right. They are also a negotiating cudgel or lever instead of just a simple measure for regulating industries, getting money, protectionism, et cetera. Okay, that's got to wrap it, guys. Thank you for watching. Again, please support the show. Hit that subscribe button. Share the show with a friend. Remember, YouTube is completely shadow banning us, so you have to hit notify so you know when the videos are going on there. Don't forget to watch the first episode podcast. I'm going to be doing one tonight, and hopefully my co-host will talk more than I will. We'll be looking at the new show, The Franchise, on HBO Max, and also Flight of the Conchords, a hilarious old school show starring two Kiwis. That is every 2 weeks. So please subscribe to that podcast. Check it out. And don't forget that you can get the new, well, I'd say a beautiful Christmas Lions of Liberty mug by upgrading to an annual subscription or a new subscription to patreon.com or locals. Okay. Goodbye. Have a very happy Thanksgiving, everybody. From me, Brian McWilliams from the Lions of Liberty, and from Mean Age Daydream, keep those electric eyes on me, babe, and keep that ray gun to my head. Bye.